Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to be covering organize your community. And the really cool thing about connected sales is the big chunk of the beginning sections of connected sales is all about understanding the people you're around, whether it's your sister, your brother, your dad, your kids, things like that, right? We never want to like do opposites where we have a magnet, and it repels. Here in Bangkok, it's great. There's a lot of open mic comedy clubs, and you can go in, talk to the little moderator, and sign up your name. And right, you could try your hand at open mic comedy. A lot of these people are sanguines, right? They're outgoing, they're comical, they're fun. You never want to try to dial in with them or sell them on opposites, right, where they got a sheet of all their jokes and they and you go in and say, well, let's organize this and let's make sure that you got a system going. The opposite is true. If a lot of clerics, they're the pioneers, the leaders, they're confident in things. You never want to hit them with the opposite, like a phlegmatic, and you say, let's relax, let's enjoy, let's just chill out, or you want to be like indecisive on decisions, like a cleric when you're talking about like goals and in sales. You never want to say, oh, just, close your eyes, relax, and take your time to think this over. So that's why we're doing this one here today. It's called Organize Your Community. You're going to have lots of fun. We're going to check with my moderator here to see if we're live, see what channels we're live in, and making sure that some of the channels that we were connecting go through YouTube and Facebook, Instagram, and I think we were trying to either do TikTok or LinkedIn as well. We have a ton of great information on LinkedIn too. You business owners out there, if you need help or assistance or coaching through any of your sales processes, we're the go-to for that. If you haven't already gotten my book here, You'll Never Go Broke If You Love Sales. I'm trying to get my little virtual background out of there. It's sort of like a fast elevator to your prospect's heart, right? So if you haven't gotten it, check it out. It's an amazing book. You'll never go broke if you love sales. Perfect for connected sales. We always have resources for everybody. Whether it's our lives, whether it's in our communities and things, you'll know that we talk a lot about the teardrops and everything in connected sales. We talk about like the teardrops and how do we start a sales process and with all this tension. And what do we use, right? We sort of dial in on objections and rebuttals, and sure enough, they run out the door when they're frustrated and say, man, I'm not buying a car from you because, of all the tension and the objections and the rebuttals, the price wars, they'll hit you with a thing and you come back with something else. They hit with you something else and then go somewhere else. And then the final, of course, we're just dialing into the heart, everybody. Yes, we are. We're going to be dialing into the heart just like Bob. You know what? When I was in Ohio years and years ago, sales, I was doing door-to-door sales. I was chased down by dogs. It was middle of winter. I had to drive way out miles just to sell sports bloopers videos. I got into gym memberships, but Nunzio was a factory sales guy that was the golfer and the factory sales, taking people out to the bar afterward, trying to close deals and stuff. So everything shifted for Bob in California. Seeing him just an amazement of an open heart. He lived by the beach, which is really cool too. So he's always meditating and relaxing on the beach and enjoying picnics and things and sunsets. at the beach. But his process was a lot more, which I was never like privy to, as far as the arguing back with somebody. Somebody says, I can't afford it. What do you mean you can't afford it? Right. And then we break it down to the ridiculous. It comes out to $1.73 a day. Right. What are you talking about? You can't afford it. You can't afford not to. So, it's pretty cool as far as the process of Bob, right? Seeing him in the jails and the inner cities and the crisis hotline for the suicide hotline and the crisis hotline centers. Was just amazing. You're listening, you're dialing in, you're understanding, but you're selling people on giving life just one more chance. Hang out for me here today. We're going to be talking about organizing your community. We're going to be breaking it down into the 4 personalities, and you're going to really enjoy. Give me a second, and I'll see if my moderator is on. We are going to be live here. I just got the okay that yes, we are live on Facebook. That's pretty cool. We were on earlier and it didn't connect, and we had that stream key, and then it didn't connect again. And the other day we were live, so who knows? I don't know, Facebook and technology and all that kind of stuff. Let me swing over here, though. I do want to make sure that I'm checking the comments. I'm also seeing like where it didn't connect. We had that perfect stream key, and then how do we and all that kind of stuff. Perfect. So Facebook is going on. Hi, all you Facebook fans that love sales and stuff. Maybe your career has been sales. Maybe you own a business that you like. I'm helping a production company here in Thailand. It's really cool. Their products are all like all these like materials. It's like steel and copper. There's like thousands and thousands of dollars of just these materials to build all these dies for all these different products. It's pretty impressive. When you get into the sales industry, you never know like who you're going to meet, like what you're selling and all that kind of stuff. So thank you for the confirmation on the Facebook. Let me swing over because there was also for YouTube. I wanted to check really quick and see just to make sure that we are live and going on YouTube here. Let's check this out. Perfect. We are live right now. Awesome. Okay. So our stream keys are connected. Love it. You never know. You were trying to get TikTok the other day, LinkedIn. It wouldn't work. It wasn't connected. I was like, wow, the more audience, we have so much content on LinkedIn, as far as if you guys are business owners, like I was saying before, and you're trying to maybe hone in or improve your sales processes, maybe your coaching processes for your team. Maybe you have a team of 4, maybe you have a team of 10, and we're getting rid of the scripts, right? So once again, a lot of the things I'll show today, I'll try to stand up just because of my virtual background. So we're getting rid of all the tension and the anxiety in the sales process with all the teardrops, right? When they're running out the door scared and saying, man, F you, I'm out of here. Compared to dialing into the heart, connected sales, right? The 4 chambers of the heart, and of course, making it a win-win so you make money. I'm going to say this really quick before we get into the lessons for today. Once again, if you didn't get my book, you'll never go broke if you heart sales. It's kind of like a fast elevator to your clients' hearts. But I did want to say this for connected sales. When we connect more to the heart, the 4 chambers, there's 2 in and 2 out. 2 pump in, 2 pump out. Now, when we're talking about personalities, We're going to be talking about like the two in. Well, we know that one of the in is the melancholics, right? They're internal, they're thinking. A lot of times people get angry. I hear this a lot from the women out there in our communities, the women that say, he's not listening to me. He doesn't respond. He doesn't communicate. I want us all understand that we got to dial in. We got to dial into the personality. When we ask an melancholic a question, it is going to take a few things, right? They're thinkers, they're analytical, they're saying like, wait, how should I respond to this? If I say this, somebody might get angry or mad. If I say this, right, they're not going to like me anymore. So the analytical. On that. The other internal is the phlegmatic, right? They're relaxed, they're laid back, right? So that's the heart, the internal. How about the external? Shoot it in the chats, everyone, for me. If you know the two external, what do they call it? Ventricles of the heart for our bodies, dialing into the heart for connected sales over the years. The choleric is correct on the chats. Thank you, Beth, for that. For the choleric is absolutely correct. The cholerics are the leaders, the pioneers, the motivators. So they're out, right? The blood's pushing out from the hearts. And the other one is the sanguine, the expressionist. We were just talking about Bangkok, Thailand, and the comedy clubs and stuff, right? They're sociable, they're optimistic, and they're very like, what would it be called? Like fun loving. Okay. So today we are talking about, let's see if we could get my, my notes here. Perfect. Connected sales, the organizing your community. So in the beginning chunk of connected sales in the programs, whether it's my accelerator program, my VIP program, or we do a lot of the retreats. When I was in Medellin, Colombia, I did a retreat. I was very, very fortunate to hold a really cool small retreat in Costa Rica, out on the beach years and years ago. I believe that was 2018 or 19. So we're going to be making sure that we sort of dial into the four personalities, and we do that in so many different ways. We make it so easy and so simple and so clean. So what we're going to be doing today is we have the two in and two out. So what we do in connected sales is we teach whether we're at a retreat or a seminar, or we're teaching on a Zoom call, or someone purchased some of our courses and programs for connected sales. The outline and the details of this is we understand each of the first four personalities. We start to relate the people that we're around the most with. It could be your employees if you guys are business owners. It could be your boss if you're a manager, or your like a regional manager, maybe your boss. And it could be other people, your kids, your husband, your wife, family, and things. And what we do is we take those people, and one by one, we put them into a category. And everyone's not going to be 100%, but we just dial in to see what they most fit in. Sometimes we put in a category and a person. I was just talking to one of my nieces, and she says, well, a few years ago, I was this, and this, right? But now I'm more this, and this. And it's like, right, we're just playing on it, right? It's not 100% guarantee, for connected sales. When we get on a phone with a sales call or a Zoom presentation and say, here's what I got, for you. And if we classify that person and hone into their heart, and we say, hey, that the person's laid back, right? He's sitting back, he's relaxed. What else? He's got always talks about family or his dogs or pets. We know he's a phlegmatic, right? Maybe not 100%. He still likes to take action. He still likes to hit the gym. He still likes the being fun. Maybe his ways of being fun, for the phlegmatic are hiking or biking and things like that. So he still likes to have fun. So when we dial into the personalities and connected sales, we are just trying to pick pick and choose. And then as the sales process continues, we just keep adjusting. Keep adjusting. We maybe labeled somebody as a sanguine because they're outgoing. All right. But then as the process goes, they keep saying, show me more, show me proof, show me, oh, what did you do last month? And now we're saying, okay, now we're going to be adding the green, the melancholic. So let's break this down, everyone. If everyone's ready, once again, I'm going to be checking the chat, the messages, and trying to respond. Does anyone have any questions before we begin today on organizing your community? One of the questions says, in organizing, do you mean organizing like fixing up or like cleaning up? Well, I want to say that like organizing for this process here is a little bit more about when we meet somebody, we're going to sort of organize who we're seeing like across from it. You know, everyone says I'm meeting my other self, right? If I meet somebody that's like passionate and energetic, well, that's another side of me, right? If I meet somebody else that's laid back and stuff, it's like, wow, I like to lay back. And you're always meeting each different individuals of yourself. So when I mean or organize this, I don't really mean like organizing your closets or your garage or your shelves or like your office desk and keeping it clean. I'm literally just saying like organize, like we don't meet somebody and throw a bunch of labels on it to say, I already know this person, I already can tell he doesn't want to buy today. I met a person like this last week, the exact same. So we don't want to do that. We want to sort of more or less dial in and organize our thoughts and then also our direction with that conversation. So hopefully that answers that question on there. The next statement is saying, can I go back and say for the heart? So the heart has two chambers, two ventricles, two in and two out. So in the Connected Sales program, I've over the years made a system where we sort of dial in to two inner and then two outer personalities. For the notes for this, the two outer ones are the cholerics, the reds, because they're like tense, like they're leading. They're always talking about goals and hitting things and doing things, right? The other outgoing one is more of the sanguine, the playful. They're optimistic. They're confident. They're sociable. So they like to talk and communicate and make friends. So those are the two outer ones. Now, when we reflect and we talk to somebody on a sales process or a sales meeting, and they're a little bit more internal or relaxed, the other two inner ones of the heart are the melancholic because they're thinking, and the phlegmatics because they're laid back. Did you see how those were sort of opposites of each other? So we have a sanguine, they're friendly. They want to meet friends, energy, parties, events, things like that, right? Where we have a phlegmatic that's laid back and relaxed. We have a choleric that's energized and go, 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 go. Was this done? Was this done? Was this done? But then we also have the melancholic that's analytical, choices. Well, if we didn't do this, or if the Google ads didn't do this, and we don't want to add ad spend to this. And so they're sort of a flip mirror of each other. So let's begin for today on what we call organizing your community. What we're going to do is you take 4 or 5 people that you are mostly around. So go ahead, write in your notes and it could be anybody. It could be your your daughter, your son, whoever you're most around. Okay. So write those in for you. It could be your neighbor, your friend, your best friend, your husband, your wife, your significant other, your roommates, whoever your 4 people are that you're most around. And I'll give everyone just a few minutes just to write those out, think about those and who you sort of want to love more, appreciate more, but also get rid of the labels and the judgments. Even though you might have had a brother or a sister for 20 years, 20 years, and you were at ends with each other, like bickering back and forth, arguing, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe you can understand that this love language per se is a little better to hear him better, listen to her better, understand them a little bit better. Okay. So does everyone have in their 4 or 5 people that they are most around? I just want to make sure, and I didn't have my, I have my Facebook. I wanted to make sure my YouTube is, oh, perfect. Okay. All set, and I didn't miss any comments or questions. So if we have our 4 or 5 people we're most around, it could be coworkers, business owners, like we're co-owning businesses and things like that. We have those 4 or 5. Okay. So we write those down. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to go through the 4 personalities. And what you want to do is just try to write which of the 4 personalities they are most of. They could be at 80%. They could be at 65%. It could be at 51%. If there are a lot of the personalities, maybe they're at 33%. So I'm going to start with the reds. The reds are the motivators. You'll see them a lot. They'll set goals. They're always task oriented. In the family, it's usually the wife or the husband that's doing tasks, whether that could be yard work, it could be kitchen duties, it could be kids' homework. So you'll see a lot of the tasks, things to do, goals, and things as well. Financials and investments. Are we moving forward? So if you know that any of your 4 or 5 people are these, just put it underneath and put it under the cholerics. Just put a little choleric next to them. Okay. The sanguines are the playful ones, right? We can't miss them. They're the yellows. They're the very, very what would it say? Fun loving, sociable people. They're outgoing. They're very, what would it be said with the sanguines? They put themselves last a lot when we talk about psychology or personal development and self-esteem. They're very, very social, but they tend to have some of the lower things, self-esteem, self-worth for the sanguines, because they care a lot about other people before them. How else can I describe the sanguines? Fun, playful, and they always avoid, I would say, the graphs, the charts, the organizing things. So they're scatterbrained. I'm sure there's other words for that. Scattered all over the place. You'll talk to, a sanguine on a sales call, or maybe it's one of your clients you already have, and it's every month you do your check-in calls, and they'll talk about one thing and they go off to another thing, and then they talk about another thing. Right? They're all over the place. They're a little bit more scatterbrained. Okay. If you know any of your 4 or 5 people that you outlined for there, write those in. For the yellows, the sanguines. All right. Well, those are pretty easy. How's everyone doing so far? Everyone's writing out who they got, what part of the heart they're going into. The greens. The green melancholics. Now, these are the people that are the overthinkings. They're very thoughtful. They're very considerate because they're always thinking about everyone else. They're detailed. They're creative. So you'll see them a lot in the design, in the, what would it be called? Like engineering and things. So they're precise. Whether they're in sports, they're always working on. I had a gym friend of mine that I was always in the gym with, and they were always precise. So you could tell they were melancholic, right? They were always making sure your back wasn't like scrunched over, you were sitting properly, you were doing your lunges, properly and things like that. The melancholics, the greens, they're very organized. Okay. You'll see maybe in their kitchen or their bedrooms or living rooms, children's playrooms, right? Everything's organized. Maybe you have the plastic shelves and stuff. Everything's organized and labels. Okay. Does everyone got those for the greens? If any of those are greens for you people, mark those people in under green. Okay, now we're just organizing. Like we say, we're organizing our community. So when you meet your next neighbor, right? Some of us, especially here in Bangkok, there's tons of different condos and hotels and apartment complexes. You never know who you're going to meet. Meeting people is always very, very interesting if we judge and we put labels on people. So this is a really awesome dialing in to the heart connection for connected sales. So those are the greens. Phlegmatics. The last group we are going to be covering is the phlegmatics, and they're the calm, reliable people, right? They'll help with anything, right? My car broke down. Can you give me a hand? Absolutely. They're very content. I know a lot of phlegmatics. When I was in Austin, Texas, I met a lot of phlegmatics who just love hiking and nature. And most of the women that are around had dogs or pets and so it's very phlegmatic people. They're very accepting and they go with the flow a lot. So if you know any of those people on your list for today, write those in under blue for the phlegmatics. Any questions before we move on? Because now what we just did is we dialed into the heart and we sort of colored a heart. If we have a coloring book and we put a picture of a heart and we dialed it and did a little a cross right across, right? We have the reds and the yellows and the greens and the blues. So now what we do, instead of judging and interrupting people and saying things that we don't want to say, we can understand them a little bit more, right? We have a deeper connection of this. I love this sort of spiritual game of sales. Okay. So you should have it. Your cholerics, your sanguines, and melancholics, and phlegmatics. One of the questions I'm reading right here just says, what if I have somebody that isn't in two of my lists? So we're going through the list today. Maybe you wrote down 5 people. So this is great. Thank you for the question for today. What I love to do is I like to use celebrities, because we could always say like the crocodile guy, like crikey, right? And he was chasing crocodiles and jumping in the swamp, right? Pulling the alligator's tail and everything. That guy's a sanguine, right? He was fun. He was outgoing. He was outgoing. He's always like, oh, there's a crocodile, right? He jumps in the water, right? Tries to wrestle a crocodile. Amazing. So use your celebrities that you love, the shows that you love, the movies that you love, and dial into those characters and try to put a character on each of those colors, for that. Putting them on a choleric for any of the characters in the movies that are driven. And, I was just thinking of Mel Gibson's movie for not Die Hard, Braveheart. Braveheart, he'd be a choleric. A sanguine would be fun. We always go to Robin Williams, for the fun actor, as far as the Birdcage and Robin Williams, the sanguine. The melancholic, the thinker, any of your characters, movies, actors, actresses that are melancholic. They're thinking, they're over analytical, they're crime investigators and stuff. Sherlock Holmes, right? He's a melancholic. And then we have the phlegmatics, the laid back people, the people that just go with the flow. The Big Lebowski with Jeff Bridges with the Big Lebowski movie would be a phlegmatic. So for that question, try to write in any of your favorite actors, actresses, or podcasters that are any of those categories. And that helps a lot, because if we say, yeah, it's interesting today, I met a sanguine, I met another phlegmatic, I met a blood, but I didn't meet, right? We're just making sure that we still have the mentality to understand what that personality is. So when we do meet them, we're saying, aha, and we can, right? And I'll always say this, dial in to the same frequency. Let's talk about frequencies really quick, everybody. When we talk about a frequency, a red is fast paced. A yellow, we call it a squiggly line. It's not on my cheat sheet for here, but I don't know if I have it. But for the 4 personalities, there is a symbol. Symbols are great because a lot of people say that, like ancient civilizations, they had sound. Sound comes into a symbol, almost like the Chinese like writing. The symbol comes into like a word, and then the word comes into a phrase sound. So it's always interesting about the vibration of something. So we have the choleric was a triangle. The sanguine is a squiggly line. The melancholic is a square. And then the phlegmatic is a circle that represents water, that you just flow with the flow, right? They're circle. They could bounce. In jiu-jitsu years ago, I had a friend that was a phlegmatic, right? He would just go with the flow. You want to roll with me? Great. Oh, next person. Oh, how can you roll? We'd talk. We'd say, right, do's and what to do, what not to do, and things like that. So that gets into what we call the vibrational science of the connected sales program. When we're doing a vibration, did you ever meet somebody and their vibration is just totally off? Maybe they're judgmental. Maybe they say some things that are off in cue, and they're right. We're just coming from the opposites, and we're trying to dial in to their vibrational line. Like we said, the cholerics, the triangle, the sanguines, the squiggly line, the melancholics, the square, and the phlegmatics, the circles. Now that we have the your sheet filled out, which we have the 4 personalities dialing into the heart. Then we have 4 or 5 of your people that you are most around the most. And then we put them in these little sections of the heart, right? We put them into the reds, yellows, blues, or greens. If we missed a few or a few were empty, what we did was we added the characters for them, movie characters, cartoon characters, actors, actresses, or any of your favorite podcasters. So we sort of filled in the blanks. So now what we're saying is what's next. Now what we do is we got homework. And now we're here live for today. We have today to sort of use this cheat sheet and this guide for organizing your community in such a fun way. Now, what we do is we do 2 things on this cheat sheet or your homework. The first thing is the people that you put in on this sheet. Maybe you labeled them as a choleric or a melancholic. When you meet them and when you talk to them, we try to dial into their own personality. Right? We try to dial into their heart, where they're coming from, where they're listening from. And if there's a lot of pauses in their speech, we speak with a lot of pauses as well. If we have a sanguine that mixes up things and is more or less like fun-loving and scattered. When we talk, let's talk about something, but then change the subject on something, but then come back to that, but then also come back to another topic again. So once again, we're trying to hone in on that squiggly line vibration. Okay, so that's the homework for today. What we do is you take your 4 or 5 people that you wrote on your list, and when you meet them and talk to them, what we try to do is we dial in. We try to dial in to the heart. Now, yesterday, for your conversations and your relationship might have looked like this. But maybe, perhaps, hopefully, tonight and tomorrow and the rest of your life, it'll look a little bit more like this. So that's the homework for there. The opposite. So what we do is we write in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you want to do 5, that's great. A lot of times for our little quick retreats for the beginning stages, we usually just say 4. So we write 4 new lines under the lines that you just wrote. And what we do is throughout the day, the afternoon, or the evening, you're going to write down that you just met Betty. Okay. And when you talk to her, wow, she was very analytical. She wanted to know why I was thinking this. She wanted to know, why did I say that? And then she also said a lot of like things that would almost be in like the engineering type of thing, where it was like creating, what would be like diagrams and things for that. So you would label Betty as a melancholic, the square. Later tonight, maybe you were walking your dog and something, and you bumped into or met somebody at the corner or at the little deli or a little gas station at the corner. I know in the United States, they have a lot of the like the speedways and the sheets and things like that. And she was very like laid back. Let's just say her name was Claire. So she was very laid back, right? Nonchalant. Even her clothes were very like loose, comfortable, and things. So you're going to label Claire as a phlegmatic, right? As a blue. So we have 4 of those. So let me check the chat and the notes really quick here for our homework. Once again, I'm just going to repeat it really quick. The homework is take those 4 people or 4 or 5 people that you wrote on your sheet for your worksheet for today when you classified them. When you meet them in your office, at home, at night, your husband or your kids, wherever it is, what we do is try to hone in to their personality a lot more. Okay. Then we said we're going to write down 4 empty lines, 4 new empty lines, and we are going to keep our eye and our heart open to the people we meet today, tonight, and tomorrow. And what we're going to do is when we meet that person, we're going to dial into the heart real quick. Were they a yellow? Were they a green? Were they a blue? Right? So we had Claire and Betty that we met, and we're going to put them down. You could do any other further stuff you'd like to do on that, how the conversation went, what notes you took during that. You could also even say, how could have I connected to them better? One of the great things I've loved to always say over the years, how could I have dialed into that better? I always say, connect bridges, don't burn bridges. A few weeks ago, we were doing some sales processes, and about 15 people were all involved. Right? And there was a little bit of a hostility of who wanted to do this and why that should be done and why that was important. And no, you're wrong. And we have different nationalities involved in different languages. So it's always tough to dialect of everything and writing everything down. And I'm always going to say this very, very clearly, right? I'm always going to try to connect bridges instead of burn bridges. If we argue with somebody, you never know 3 years or 5 years from today where that person is. Especially in the sales business, we'll probably bump into them 6 months from now, 1 year from now. I had a client of mine that burned some bridges last year before getting into this whole loving more, understanding people more. And they're like, Edison, how do I get rid of my, what would it be called? Like so many like attacks and verbal, like, we'll just call it labels, right? Judgments on that person. We started dialing into the connected sales program, dialing into the heart, loving more. So I'm more about, connecting those bridges, in those situations. We have 15 people. I don't know where they'll be next year. I don't know if they're going to be working in, Amsterdam. I don't know if they're going to be working on a project in Australia that I'm sort of involved with as too. And I can't go into next year thinking, wow, I really ruined that compared to next year, fast forward a year. And we go into that relationship and you're saying, wow, I know it was a little unsteady, but still there was still some respect, some good communication, and still some understanding, and we left on good terms. Okay, so that was the homework for today's live session. We dialed in, we sort of organized the community for your community. One thing I love about this, when we start organizing our community, we start with our family close, and then we move out. Brothers, sisters, uncles, nephews, right? And then we move from there, workplace, coworkers, managers, right? And we expand. Then we go out from there. Maybe it's friends and you're playing pickleball and volleyball with friends. So we keep expanding this love language of connected sales on that. The 2 homework assignments: dial into the people that you wrote the 4 things on: cholerics, sanguine, melancholics, phlegmatics, right? We labeled each of the people as those. Then we took your 4 or 5 blanks, and for a few hours tonight and tomorrow, what we're going to do is write down who we met and how we sort of classify them and what personality they were, so we could sort of understand them more. Okay, wonderful. Once again, I'm going to be checking comments here on our YouTube. We tried two or three times. It might not have been 3, but it was twice on our Facebook. It just couldn't get connected. It's like, wow, we were connected yesterday on YouTube, Instagram, and then my moderator was trying to help, and we were getting the LinkedIn still wasn't approved, and also the TikTok would be great to get these lives going. So thanks for joining me for today. It was all about organizing your community. If there's any comments or chats down below, throw them in the chat button down below. Our team will definitely respond, help you, and assist you. If you'd like any further help, assistance, or coaching on any of your sales team and taking your sales process from this, where it's all about sales and we're not connecting, and it's all about objections, rebuttals, objections or rebuttals, and overcoming all those and really not building any type of connections, to this, right? We're dialing in to the heart, right? The green, right? We're dialing into the heart instead of the teardrops. Comment down below. Me and my team will reach back out to you for your company, your corporation, your organization to better your sales skills. Once again, this was organizing your environment, your community, your outreach, and the people that you're meeting here at Connected Sales. Have a great day. We'll see everyone in the classes and the programs for the upcoming week. And you guys have a great afternoon.